Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This one is called What Inspired or Motivates the Seeking? Well, there's two possible reasons. One is the suffering. When someone is suffering so much, the spiritual seeking begins because it's trying to find a way out of its suffering. The other could be a natural inkling, inspiration to know who I am. Now, it doesn't matter which one, there is a root cause for that seeking, and it's this. Imagine you're everything, the all-expansive, the eternal, that which is, you're everything. All of a sudden, you experience yourself restricted. That restriction is the experience of being a body. Because if you notice a body has a limitation. The rest seems to be something apart from me. See? And yet I'm feeling restricted because this limitation, it's localized, but who I am is the ever-present, the eternal, the everything. So it's like a fish being in a fishbowl. He cannot see the fishbowl. All he knows is that he looks out and he sees the vastness of everything, but somehow the fish can only move in a very limited area. See? And he can see, the fish can see the wholeness, the vastness, but somehow when he tries to experience himself in that vastness, he keeps hitting a wall, a wall that he cannot even see. You see? It's there because he hits it whenever he's trying to swim, and therefore he has to constrain itself to the limitations of the little fishbowl. You see? So all that the fish would need to do is to jump out of the fishbowl, so now he can swim in the vastness of what it is. Well, the jumping out of this body is the letting go of the body. And yet we are petrified of letting go of the body because all we know, or we're conditioned to know, is the body. So we think this is it. So in order to cope with that, is we start seeking pleasure and avoiding pain to somehow remain within the constraints of the body and make it more manageable. See? However, the sense of limitation is still there following us, even if we achieve all the things that the world can finally, that the world could offer. Well, that sense of incompleteness, you see, that sense of lack, even in the myth of seeming having everything, motivate or inspired the search. Now, the way we approach that in these videos, the way life has approached that through this instrument, is not so much to try to become the everything or trying to have a spiritual experience that I can say, oh, this is what it feels like being the totality. There's another approach, and the approach is the only thing that sustains the belief that I'm a separate entity is thoughts. The thought is the one that tells me that I'm a separate entity, and also the thoughts are the ones that tell me what do I need to do in order to be happy, in order to be fulfilled, whatever the case may be. It's all in the thinking process. See? So if I don't believe any of the thoughts that the mind conjures up, if I don't believe the thoughts, if I can see them for what they are, I'm not saying that I can experience the expansiveness of what I am, although, there's people who may have glimpses of that, but at least I can be happy. I can live in peace, even while I still seems to appear as a body, meaning as a limitation. You see, this is the practicality of what these videos are about. There's a line in one teaching which is called A Course in Miracles, where attributed to Jesus or the Holy Spirit, that says, if you want to be like me, I will teach you, knowing that you and I are alike, we're the same. If you rather be different, if you want to be different, I will wait until you change your mind. My understanding is that the Course is pointing to the reality of what we are. So, if you want to be like me, it's like saying, if you want to be free, if you want to be happy, if you want to experience the peace that passes all understanding, I will teach you, because you and I are exactly the same. But if you want to keep holding on to your sense of identity, believing you're this separate entity, this little thing in this seeming world of appearances, I will wait until that calling, you see, is going to force you to change your mind. Because sooner or later, there's a time when we realize there's got to be more than this. And usually that tends to happen when we have achieved or have enough experiences to realize that the world has nothing of value that can offer me. Within the world of appearances, not everybody's ready for this shift. Literally, there's people who will live their whole life attached to the world, attached to their bodies, attached to their families, attached to all the things of this world, and that has to be respected and honored. However, there are some that none of that brings the fulfillment that they're seeking, and these are the ones who now are ready to begin to jump or begin to question their fishbowl, so they can finally jump out of the fishbowl and release themselves from that limitation. And within the world of appearances, we can begin, or we can be free right now, right this moment. The invitation in these videos is simply the recognition that you're free right now. See? There's one book that I wrote, it's called You Are Freedom. Not that you're free, but you are freedom. You see, spirituality is the recognition that you are. And we can put it to the test. I do this in every video, and I will do it again. Right now, the only thing that seems to be the cause of any suffering is whatever you are believing, which is a thought. You cannot believe anything other than a thought, you see. Right now, a thought may appear, I feel bad, this is not, I feel whatever, this shouldn't be like this, I don't want to feel this way, I want things to be different. You see, these are thoughts. If you think about it, these are thoughts. Some of them, all thoughts are just thoughts, that's it. But what happens is sometimes there are feelings, and then the mind takes the thought and somehow links it with the feeling, and that's what makes sense. I try to make sense of the feeling, but thoughts as well as feelings, they're just appearances in what we are, okay? And this is very practical. This is not esoteric, okay? This is not an abstract thing. This is the most common and practical thing if you're willing and open. So, right now, it doesn't matter what your circumstances are, it doesn't matter what you're feeling, or it doesn't matter what feelings are maybe appearing right now that it seems as if though you're sensing them. It does not matter, whatever it is. Right now, in beingness, I'm asking you to don't identify with anything the mind is trying to sell. It doesn't matter. Just be right now. Don't identify with any thoughts. Let them be there. They will be there. That's what thoughts do. They appear and they disappear. We cling on to them, we believe them, and we experience the consequence of that. Not the consequence of the thought. The thought is harmless. The consequence of our interpretation. And we use that interpretation to keep holding on to our sense of identity, meaning the restriction, okay? So, right now, I'm asking you to simply be. That's it. Which you're being anyway. But I'm just kind of remind you of that. Don't identify with any thoughts. Let them be there. They will be there, and they'll probably be there for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter. Thoughts are not a problem. They're just simply passing clouds. Just be. You see? In that beingness, that at least within the context of the dream, within the context of the illusion, that is the freedom that you are. You see? It seems as if though you're still a fish in a fishbowl, but somehow you're now seeing your experience differently, and it could be said that like by magic, the fishbowl has disappeared, right? You still feel the limitations of being a body, but somehow that is no longer a problem. It's just simply an experience, but the mind is not identified with the experience, and consequently is living within the experience, but from the freedom that it is. That's what it says, living in the world with a mind that is not of it. You will still continue living your life like before, maybe, well, and if things may have to change, they will change, but that doesn't matter, because now you're living your life free from the conditioning of the mind, free from the limitations of thought, while you now use thinking or the mind for executing normal things, you see. The mind is used so I know how to turn a camera on, put it in front of me. The mind is used to know how to use words, but these are things that are happening organically. I'm not doing any of this, although it appears as if I am doing those things. But there's a recognition that this is just what happens. You see, it's not happening to anybody. There's nobody. There's just simply what is. Even when it appears as if there is someone here saying words and recording this video. It doesn't matter. Let's not go there, because the mind is going to try to hang on to its sense of identity, and it's going to make a whole story around this. Just go to the simple. The simplicity is this. Right now, just for a moment, I'm asking you not to believe any of your thoughts. Don't identify with them, and what is left. You see? What remains? What remains? What remains is what is. See, that is the isness we're pointing to always. That's the simplicity. And now all we see is how the mind tries to compare, tries to, find ways to try to bring back your attention. But now we're realizing that we are. You see, you're resting in what is. And this is the sanity, which is the nature of your beingness, as opposed to the craziness of what you've been conditioned to believe. And you may appear as if you're the odd one, like another book that I wrote, or Life wrote, through this instrument. You're not crazy, you're healing, because again, it appears as if we're the crazy ones. You see, it appears as if I'm the crazy one, because everybody thinks the other way. Everybody thinks the way we were taught to think. You're a body, this is who you are, this is what you need to accomplish so you to be happy, and all that stuff. And something within you is beginning to ask, there gotta be a better way, and that's where the seeker is born. The thing is that the seeking is still an activity of the mind, you see, until you can see the trap, you can see the trick, you see. You can never believe a magician once you know how the trick is done. Well, now you see the trick. The trick is that I'm always reacting to thoughts, and thoughts are just passing clouds. That means absolutely nothing. And now I can see how everyone is also reacting to thoughts. Of course, there's no everyone, because there's no me, but within the context of the dream, now you can understand. I see why people act the way they do, because they believe their thoughts. Therefore, they're not to be punished, they're to be loved, they're to be understood. You see, because now you understand yourself, you know yourself, you see, got it, I see, I remember how I used to react that way. I remember how I used to feel that way. Why? Because I believe the thoughts, and because I believe the thoughts, I cling on to the sense of identity. Consequently, I cling on to the world, and I wanted the world to be the way I wanted to be. I thought I could control it because I believed that, you see, as if I was the doer. I thought that if I accomplish this, I'll be happy. And then after life led me to the experiences that I need in order to come to the realization from direct experience that none of the things that the world could offer can make me happy or can complete me. I can see how people appears to be limited because they're believing their content of the mind. Now there's a point here we got to be very careful. Don't come into a spiritual arrogance of saying I am better than. I am not better than anyone. Everyone and I were just the same. We're the same mind, the same totality that appears to have different conditioning, images or whatever, but we're part of the very same energy. Now you're recognizing that which you are, and the world of appearances no longer distracts you. Meaning, your thoughts no longer distract you. See? Whatever the senses shows are not distracting anymore. They're just simply happenings. Hearing happens, seeing happens, sensing, feeling happens. Everything happens, but what I am remains. You see, it remains because it's not identified with the evaluation of the mind, even while it seems as if though functions in the world using the evaluation of the mind. And you simply see life how it's unfolding through the instrument called you, in the same way life is unfolding through the instrument called me. In this instrument, it have him making videos, writing books, writing songs, living life like everybody else, you know, within the script that I'm supposed to live. Some people have families and kids and children. I don't have those things, therefore I live life in a different way. But the essence is the same. We are all the same thing, the same essence that is undescribable. We call it love, we call it essence, but whatever you call it is not it. The moment you label it, is not it. You are. End of story. And that's what we're pointing to here. And because you are, if you believe or suggest or think you're something less than what you are, that's what prompts the seeking. And therefore all of us are destined to seek yes or yes, because we cannot remain limited for the rest of eternity. In the end, we are remembering that we already are. We're not getting to the place, we are the place. And well, that's inspiration that came through this instrument. I hope it served. And as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can be extended.